today. We're going to talk about rest today. Now, I don't know about you, but I sometimes find it difficult to get enough rest. I can sleep just fine, but if I overschedule my day, my body just gets tired. Might be old age, could be. But I also talked with a young mother the other day who told me how tired she was chasing around 3 children under the age of 5, and I remember those days of tiredness as well. I have a friend who has a job that just is so pressured and so busy that she's tired all of the time. And so I know that sometimes we just need rest, don't we? That's just where we are. So we're going to talk about rest today, and I want to make it very, very practical. So we're going to look at 7 specific areas where we need rest, some signs that show us that we're growing weary in that area, and maybe then some things that we can do to get the rest that we need in that area. Well, the most obvious place that we need rest is physical rest, isn't it? Our bodies can really just only go for so long because before they just succumb to exhaustion. And when we are in the need of physical rest, we find that our energy wanes. Maybe we have aches and pains and soreness that dogs us for no real reason. We might even begin to feel ill. And I know when I get overtired physically, I get dizzy. And that's when I know that, oh, I've done too much, so I need to get some rest. Well, the only real remedy for physical rest is to take yourself to bed and go to sleep. Shut your eyes and shut things off. Shut off your mind, and then just ask the Lord to give you the rest that you need. And I know that some people struggle with that. But I'm one of these people that can power nap. So if I can shut my eyes and go to sleep for 10 minutes, I'm ready to go again. But that's really not a good practice either, because I'm just pushing my body continually. Because your body needs rest, even if you don't fall asleep, you need to take time to let your muscles relax, to get off your feet, to just get into a dark and quiet room and be good to your body. You can only push it so far, and since the Bible says you will reap what you sow, you need to be careful what you do with your body. Get yourself a good night's sleep. Maybe use some massage, some gentle exercises, some breathing exercises, put on some gentle music, whatever you need to let your body have what it needs. God knows you need rest, and so you need to know that too. The other type of rest that we need is mental rest. When your mind goes on overload, it really struggles. And you'll notice it because sometimes maybe you find it hard to find the right word. All of a sudden you can't remember your thoughts. You feel like you're in a fog. Or when you are experiencing a need for mental rest, sometimes you get angry too quickly and you get annoyed too easily. You know, your mind is really just a computer, and it can only process so much at a time. And when we overload it with work or with drama or anxiety or self-condemnation, whatever we're using, it gets tired and it starts to glitch, you might say, just like a computer would. And if your mind is tired, then you're going to have to reschedule your schedule. You're going to have to adjust some things. If your work is overloaded, then try blocking out times for some deep work that you need to do without any other distractions. And just focus on one thing at a time. Prioritize things and put them into order. And that's what I find. Brainstorming really helps me a lot. When I'm mentally tired, I just sit down with a piece of scrap paper, because I'm not going to waste a good piece of paper. A piece of scrap paper. I write down all the stuff that needs to be done, the appointments, responsibilities, short-term, long-term, and then I just sit and sort that kind of all out. And there's something about it with my mind that once I've written it down, I'm not afraid I'm going to forget it. And then I can go back to that and I can adjust that. It really helps me to take off some of that mental pressure. And listening to soothing music, meditation, prayer, these are also good ways to give your mind a break before it snaps and you say or do something you wish you hadn't. Another type of rest is emotional rest. Nowadays, we face a lot of emotional upheaval with the news, the things that are happening, the politics, the back and forward that goes on. Maybe we have difficult relationships, we experience anxiety or worry, or we have self-doubt, and all these things add to the emotional strain of life. And it leaves us with feelings of being overwhelmed or nervousness. Maybe we have a twitching eye, or we have unexplained tears that just reveal our need for some emotional rest. And there are many things that you can do to break this chain. You need to learn to change your emotions. My husband used to say, push in the clutch and change gears. Just get hold of yourself. And to stop stressing, worrying, and doubting, you're going to need to draw upon the Lord, to walk by faith and to develop an emotional tie with Him. And if you're caught in that comparison trap, thinking you need to be like someone else or better than someone else, if you're linked to people who drain you, or maybe they're toxic or high maintenance, then you're going to need to take a mental break, and you're going to have to devise a better plan. Your emotions, just like your mind, need quiet. And you can't rest when you're in a drama or if you yourself are overly dramatic. And that's why the Lord promotes moderation, taking your thoughts captive, temperance. All these things are Bible remedies for the need for emotional rest. And He knows that we need self-control. And emotional rest comes from keeping things in the right track and with trusting the Lord. And again, I know there's much more that we could say here. But as you probably already know, your mental state determines so much about how your life goes, your decisions, your reactions, and everything, and how well you cope. I'm reminded of Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23 that says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Your heart is the seat of your emotions, so you need to guard your heart carefully. You need to keep it rested and protected, and then you will find the rest that you need. The fourth type of rest is social rest. Social media is something new. This has really only been with us for barely 20 years, and it's already making a change in our society. And it's because with social media, you are with people in some way or some form almost 24/7, and it's draining. Young children, teenagers, work colleagues can be draining, and the feelings of loneliness and detachment from family and friends and the desire to run from social commitments all indicate that you need some rest. You need some space in this area. But before you climb into a hole and cover yourself up, go out and seek one friend who will help you, who will listen. Not a host of friends, not a big party. That's not what we're talking about. Even with social tiredness, you need one friend. Someone who will listen, someone who does not drain you. And you can't give to others until you are filled up. So fill yourself back up. Take time to find that one friend, and I will tell you, God will be that friend. He's the one that will listen to you. He's the one that will fill you back up. I often read now about sensory issues. This is something we never really heard about when I was growing up, but in these days of computers and screens, sensory tiredness is a real thing. Your eyes feel heavy or strained, loud sounds start to bother you, and maybe you can't smell or hear as well, or maybe your taste is changed, and these are all signs that your senses are tired. And it tells you it's time to shut off that phone, close that computer, go away from the TV or the iPad, and stay away from these things that require your eyes and your ears and all these things to be busy. Change what's bothering you. Lower the music, dim the lights, softly close your eyes for a minute and let your senses rest. It's a great time for meditation, to think on the Lord, to listen to the songbirds and feel the gentle breeze or the warmth of the sun. These are sensory, but they aren't draining, and you need this type of sensory input to bring rest to your soul. And the sixth type is creative rest. And with all our productivity and the onslaught of news and the social media, many people no longer take time to be creative. I once listened to a TED Talk about the benefits of being bored. Used to be a word around my house that we weren't allowed to use. If you're bored, that meant you needed something to do. But the basic premise of the talk was that we are not creative until our imagination is not distracted. So being bored, having unoccupied or uncommitted time, gives space for our creative juices to flow. And so we need to be bored once in a while. Won't hurt our children at all to find a way to be creative in their time. You need this type of rest when you find no free time in your day, when you struggle to brainstorm, you can't figure out even what should be next, or when you lose the awe of nature and the beauty of life. And you were created in the image of God, and He has a vivid imagination, and He is very creative. So He wants you to have that joy as well. So if you're feeling weary or dull in this area, it's time to take some breaks in your day. Get up and move away from that computer. They say you should move away from it every hour, walk around, even for the sake of your body. Get some fresh air, take a short walk, or even work on a hobby or a craft that you enjoy. And don't forget to take a day off, or even to schedule that vacation that we all need. A change of scenery will do you good. And do things you enjoy, and don't feel guilty about feeding your creativity. This is a way God can speak to your heart. This is the way you were wired, and God loves you just the way you are. He has things for you to create. So take time to find some creative rest. And the seventh type of rest we need is spiritual rest. And I think you'll be surprised by the signs that you need spiritual rest. It's evidenced by an inability to self-motivate, feelings of hopelessness, feeling trapped or insignificant, or feeling less satisfied with life. Now, I've been there. I'm sure you have too. Now, what you and I do not need is to close our Bibles and stop praying. We don't need to give up on church. That's not going to meet your need for spiritual rest. When we need spiritual rest, it means we need to rest in the Lord. And I love Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 to 29. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. I love that verse. I'm reminded of it many times when I get too busy and I get to complaining that I'm too tired. God says, hey, I've already said, come to me. I will give you rest. So when I grow tired in ministry, the first thing I do is I look at those 6 other types of rest. Am I physically tired? Is my mind overloaded? Are my emotions out of control? Do I need to find a friend and have a chat? Do I need to shut off the noise? Do I need to make a change and do something I enjoy? And sometimes I find the source of my spiritual tiredness is inside those questions. And when I make adjustments, then things are just fine and I can keep going. But there have been times when I was simply spiritually tired. And I'll give you a key to what I do. First, I just get alone with God. And I pray and I talk. I tell Him all about it. I tell Him how I'm feeling, what fears I face, my insecurities, the situations that are driving me crazy. And I just hold nothing back. I just tell Him. He's not afraid. He already knows. So I'm not going to catch Him off guard. And then I just, you might say emotionally or in my thought pattern, I just reduce the whole world to me alone. I make my world a whole lot smaller. Instead of trying to take care of the whole thing, I look at just what I can do between me and God. I forget about the tiredness, the mental strain, the emotions, the feelings of loneliness, the noise, the boredom of life. I just put all that aside, and it's just like there's just the world is gone, and it's just me and God. And I still find that He loves me. I'm loved by Him. He's there for me. He is my unfailing friend, and He makes no demands on me. He only tells me that He loves me, and I don't have to perform to have that love. And then sitting right there in my chair, feeling exhausted, the arms of God come around me, and He revives my spirit. And my heart then just moves into thankfulness, and I look and see all He's given me, all He's done for me, and I just find great joy and humility. I began to know that rest comes only from Him, and He gives me strength. Not my strength. He gives me His strength to keep going, to change what needs to be changed, to point me to a better path, and I come away renewed. So, dear friend, take time to explore where you need rest. Some things you might be able to do for yourself, but ultimately it is God that gives rest, a blessed rest that comes from laying everything else at His feet. And I'll see you next week.